But hey, Rosa's here, baby. What's going on, Axie fam? Elijah here, back with another video. And today we are going to be exploring Rosa, the card that is the talk of the town lately, and for good reason. It provides so much value with almost no downside. As a matter of fact, Banish, which is the newest update to it, makes your deck move even quicker. This is without a doubt a buff to the card. Before this patch, Rosa was unstable, which meant when you played it, it would get banished, but you would also shuffle a confused card into your own deck. So without there being any negative repercussions, it's an absolutely disgusting card to be playing. As a matter of fact, 5 out of the top 10 players in Arena are using a Rosa build. It's pretty hard to avoid when you search it up in the queue. You're gonna run into it probably every other game or so, and I'm gonna share with you today the Rosa build that I'm using. Now, I don't expect it to stay this strong. I do, however, expect Rosa to remain a good card as long as they don't completely rework it. I mean, it puts your opponent to sleep. It can target any one of them, which, you know, has pros and cons. This is the time to experiment in Axie Infinity, and if something like this happens and it's super strong, you don't want to go nuts because we're going to have changes coming frequently. But if you can find a great deal on the marketplace, perhaps there's an Axie or two that you want to add into your composition to make it a little more powerful. As for the team that I'm actually playing right now in Arena, this is it right here. So it's a double Rosa build with a beast on the back line, and this is a triple nut variation with little peas. So the breakdown goes like this: up front and at the mid, I also have Carrot because that card is obviously super strong right now as well. One of the cool things about this build is that I have Scarab on my front line, which can target any enemy. At my mid, I also have Scarab and Axie Kiss, which can also target any enemy. And these cards give me some flexibility on perhaps finishing off some Axies in a match. There's a lot of taunt out there, so there's times where Axies will get chipped away at, and occasionally I have just enough in following rounds to snipe them off with these cards. On top of that, Axie Kiss actually applies Death Mark when my plant here is below 50% HP. And then once I get below that 50% HP threshold, I can tag them with Death Mark. They'll take 15 damage every time I play a card, and it basically is for 2 of their rounds. And that can be a really useful tactic as well in the mid to late stages. Now let's talk a little bit about this beast. This guy is an absolute monster. It's probably one of the strongest movesets you can have on a beast. It's triple nut with Arco, Ronin, and Little Peas. Little Peas obviously insane, applies vulnerable. The opponent takes 20% more damage, and you can see how this sort of plays out over time. Your Nutcracker cards get upwards of 80, 90, 100 damage in some matchups. That's going to equal to 120 damage sometimes with vulnerable, and on top of that, the reason I've selected a beast is because, hey, look at this, Reckless Hunter. It's probably one of the best runes that I have pulled at this point, so I'm going to make the most of it. I have 40% extra damage at times when I have both Vulnerable and Reckless Hunter coming into effect. Not to mention the Ronin, and I will say this, if you get a Ronin beast, you really want to play it with double Carrot right now, because what happens there is it allows you to get off more energy, and that is essentially how this card does max damage. You do bonus damage based on the number of energy that you spend in a turn. So if you spend 4, you're going to do more damage. 5, you're going to do insane damage. And Carrot's the easiest way to make that happen, even better than Nemo or Cottontail, because you only draw 5 cards per round. And if you're drawing Nemos and Cottontails, sometimes it's going to get a little wonky and be hard to fit everything into one circuit, whereas like Carrot makes that a little bit easier to pull off. And sometimes you will get that 5 Ronin combo and just blast the head off of your opponent. If we were to look at the marketplace, yeah, this guy's expensive right now, $115. I will say one of the differences though with this beast is that it is fully pure 6 of 6. As the charm system develops, this is going to be a very nice Axie to have long term, I believe. It seems that way. The Arco utility is very nice in a lot of matchups these days. It doesn't stop reflect damage, which I'm not really sure if that's intentional or not. But when it comes to things like Timber or Watering Can, where those sustain builds can just stack up tons of little healing cards that, you know, gain a lot of benefit from triggers like Sakura, getting to nullify all of that with an Arco is really soul crushing for them and feels really good for us. All that being said, I think the one card that is able to get removed here would be Arco, and that's gonna open up your possibilities tremendously. For $100 less, you can get one of these beasts with Imp, which might actually be phenomenal in the future, right? Once we're able to access Fury form a little bit easier down the line, maybe we all have a little more endless anger in our life, then perhaps this is gonna be something that you prefer. So don't go rushing to spend $120 on an Arco beast when you can just come down here, get something really nice that's gonna help you climb the ranks. This is a really powerful moveset. You still got the little peas, you still got the triple nut and the Ronin potential. So this is definitely an option that you wanna keep in mind if you're looking to build a double carrot Ronin triple nut type of build like the one I'm running. The final key feature to my team, and specifically this frontline plant, is that I have Rosebud on it. Now what I did is I went out there and thought, what do I want? I want like carrot, Rosa, another scarab would be nice to complement this midliner that I already had. So I went to the marketplace, started searching for those movesets, and bam, I saw this and thought, well, that'll do. The reason why Rosebud can be clutch for me is that it applies one cleanser to whatever Axie I target. So there's gonna be situations where I'm gonna wanna play Rosebud on my backlane beast and give it that cleanser if I know I'm up against another Rosa build. Let's say that their win condition is to finish me off in the late game with a Rosa, or let's say even something like a tiny turtle, which is gonna stun me. If I've got that cleanser over my head, keeping me nice and healthy and happy, when they play Rosa, it's gonna do nothing. And I'm gonna be all good to go ham in the following round and kill them. So there is times where even if this beast is full health, I might slap it with a Rosebud, get it that cleanser so it can be clutch for me in the late game. I just started using this build recently. It's been really good today. I think I went 4 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw so far. I'm sitting at rank 219, so I'm gonna need a nice streak of games to break through into that top 100, but trust me, I'm going to do that. That will happen. Just got to keep grinding away. And the competition's fierce. What I want to do to end this video is look at a game I played recently against Captain Carey. Now this guy has been putting in insane hours before the alpha season came out. He was one of the players who was really all in from the jump. So definitely knows what he's doing. Tough opponent. Has some really crazy runes and charms. Poison touch on his backline, applies 1 poison every time this Axie gets attacked. And he also takes 2% less damage per poison stack on the enemy. So he can take up to 20% less damage depending on how much poison I have on me. This is insane. Not only that, he has Rocket Stamp on Tiny Dino. I haven't seen Rocket Stamp once in the arena yet. So not only does he have a mystic, I think this is a mystic rune, he also has one of the most powerful charms in the game, and he can really put pressure on any Axie he wants with this. And that's where his build starts to really make sense. His frontliner has Toothless, which targets the furthest enemy. So you can see here he's gonna apply a bunch of poison, put a bunch of pressure on, and then do a lot of damage to this backlane beast, which is my closer, who I definitely need to have alive in order to win this game. Turn 1, just gonna go with the cactus. He's gonna start putting on green thorns right away. Fish snack up front. So I'm gonna go ahead and play Scarab here, put the weak on my midline plant. So I'm aware that when I see him play a secret from his bug to his front lane, the only one he has is Fish snack. So I never wanna lead with my beast cards in that situation. That would be a tragedy. It would make my beast do way less damage. So instead, I'm just gonna use my plant for that. I get the carrot value, and I will finish off with the Ronin here for 100 damage. Okay, here we go, Toothless. And I'm like thinking, okay, that was a little chip damage, but again, it's a poison build and he's got Tiny Dino, so we have to be very careful. Applies weak up front. I love what he's doing here with this build. He's making your attacks do less across the board. He's applying tons of pressure, poison, he's durable, he's got shielding ability, reflecting up front. I just could see this one ascending very high on the leaderboard potentially in the coming days. Little peas up front, carrot for the extra energy, and I think that was the most efficient way for me to do this. Then I have Sirius on the mid, and I go ahead and play the Rosa up front as well. And really the most important thing with Rosa is you want to make sure that you're holding 1 for the late game against sustain builds so you can sleep them at the most opportune time. So I never want to play Rosa on my midliner like in the early stages. I want to make sure that I have that held and ready to go, specifically against sustain builds. The only time you would play it in the early stages on your mid lane as well is if you're up against something like a really aggressive puffy build and you're not sure if you're going to get that second rotation on your deck to redraw it. But against something like this where I know I'm gonna have a little more longevity, I can just hang on and wait to use that Rosa in the late game when I'm gonna need it most. I'm now up to 10 poison on the front, 9 on the mid, and 5 on the back line. I'm not feeling too hot. My health is slowly ticking away while he's still in pretty good shape here. So now in turn 7, here we go. I draw Rosebud and I heal up my beast and put him back up to 280 health, and I give him a cleanser. This is a spot where we're seeing this one particular card that I have on my front lane really starting to make an impact. So I'm getting a little healthier there on the back. So I finish off with a Confused and a Nutcracker, and he still is relatively beefy here at the midline. There's a Freezard. We've got another Fish Snack, so I know that that's what he has on him. Tiny Dino, 107 damage back on my beast there. 27 damage, 24 damage, 13 damage on the poison. This is really getting out of hand for me. I'm leading with Sirius to make sure the weak goes on my plant. And then I'm gonna follow through with my beast cards here. And it actually, you know what? I don't play the Arco because I redrew the Rosebud, and you can bet your ass I'm gonna play it on my beast again to try to keep him healthy back up to 220 health, 2 cleansers, which I guess don't really do anything when it comes to poison. But nonetheless, I'm keeping him healthy, which I think is the most important point. My plant is gonna go down this round from the poison, and I am now looking at a hand that is capable of finishing off this bug. I'm gonna play the Cactus, following up with a Nutcracker, and doesn't really matter which card I use to finish him off. I just go with the Ronin in this case. And because this Reptile of carries has Tricky, which heals Freezard, it has Reflect and Shield, I'm definitely not home free at this point. What I am praying for is that he doesn't draw Tiny Turtle, because I need this plant to live. Look at what is in my draw pile. It's the other Rosa. And as long as I can play that, I'm gonna probably pull this one off. He doesn't draw into it, and here's the Confused coming into play that I have on both my mid and front Axie. And I was playing this all throughout the mid stages, praying for a scenario like this to happen, even though there was times I was playing it when I even had weak on me. It wasn't for the damage, it was for the impact. And we fade the Tiny Turtle. He's playing Green Thorns on me. Scaly Spoon, 70 shield, gonna reflect damage, goes up to 100 shield with a little more reflect as well from that Revenge card. But hey, Rosa's here, baby. Time for another Confused. Let's make sure that we get all the damage reflected onto the plant, not the beast. And then I'm gonna follow through with Axie Kiss, break his shield down, get an energy back from the carrot, play the Rosa, put him to sleep. He also has the death mark on him, and notice the sequencing in this round as well. I played Confused first so I could get the damage reflected onto me, which would drop me below half health. That was all intentional, so I could then get the Axie Kiss proc. These are just the small things that you want to make sure that you're doing and not missing, because they can definitely cost you the game at times. And this poor little purple rep is asleep, snoozing. He's got to play shield. He plays 2 revenge cards. That's going to finish off my plant for the following round. He's still pretty beefy, 252 total defense here, including the shield. But I think that with the death mark, adding 15 damage to each of these hits, along with the fact that I'm just doing tons. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think the death mark won me the game. I think I don't win this game if I don't play the Axie Kiss the round prior. That was all absolutely necessary. We finish him off with the Revenge card, and down goes one of the toughest back lanes I've seen in quite some time. I am interested to see how far Carry goes with that composition. It is a disgusting one. And I hope that you guys learned a bit about Rosa and maybe are considering adding a Rosa Axie. Again, probably gonna get tweaked. There should be some negative repercussions. That's how I feel about it. It definitely shouldn't banish. Maybe it needs to be unstable. And I don't know if we need to nerf it that much more than that, because the thing is, there still is lots of ways around Rosa. There's cleansers, and the card itself does very little damage, so if you use it and it doesn't quite go where you want it to, since it's random, it can be kind of a waste of a slot for you. I think 3 Rosas is probably overkill. I think the most you ever want, even in the current, like, quote-unquote broken version of it now, is 2. And we'll have to see how it all plays out. But yeah, definitely having fun with this build right now. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on this ability. Is it too strong right now? How much does it need to get nerfed? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to both this channel and the Meditate YouTube channel. We're putting out tons of Origin content there as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.